Something else. Do not be afraid to rely on other people.
Oh shit. Let's
Oh my
talk.
God. There's so many people that have helped me out. Not even just HOTS, like in real life, in work, or anything. Do not be afraid to ask for help, ask for advice. It is so helpful. Even though I'm a CCL player, I'm top of the top or whatever you want to say, I still ask people for advice. Like I'm asking people, what should I be doing on Samro differently? What should I be doing this and this? There's so many like great minds out there that can really give you a whole nother perspective that you didn't even know about. Don't be afraid to ask help, ask for people.
What do you think holds most people back from asking for help or advice from other people?
So I was an academic decathlon for about 2 years. I
Humble
never
flex.
actually studied. Let me clear this out. Basically, what happened is I started my junior year at King High School, where it was like my first time. I was a junior. It was kind of awkward, whatever. And this old lady walks up to me and is like, "Hey, do you like food?" I'm like sitting there, yeah.
It's a weird pickup
Do you
line, but
like
I'm into
free
it.
period? And I was like, yeah, sure. I like having a free period. She's like, you should join academic decathlon. Because you gotta understand, I'm one of those C students that like doesn't like doing homework. I hate homework. I'm more of like an in-person, like hands-on type stuff. So usually my grades aren't the best, but I usually score really well on tests. And academic decathlon is all about tests, except for one category. It's the speech category. And I actually touched on the topic of, being a macho man.
Like toxic
Like,
masculinity or something like that.
yeah, toxic masculinity. Exactly.
I got you, baby.
It's so instilled into us since we're born, and I think that actually hurts a lot of people. You're told figure it out on your own. You don't need to ask for help. Do it yourself. I just feel like that's not how humans are. We're a very social species. We work together on things. You don't just sit there and all of a sudden you're a perfect human that just doesn't need help and you're just gonna solve world hunger or stuff. You're gonna need help. You're gonna need to talk to people. You're gonna need to get knowledge and stuff.